Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. It is Maria Park, and we are here to talk about the season finale of Hawkeye season 1, which is episode 6. And it was called So This Is Christmas. And I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite MCU shows. And I'm being biased because I'm a big Kate Bishop fan. But yeah, I really enjoyed the hell out of this episode. So before we dive in, I'm using my webcam right now, so hopefully the quality is not poop. I'm just paranoid because the last time I did a live stream with my DSLR, my Canon 80D, it just kept phasing in and out, and I think it is something with StreamYard, but I just feel a little bit more comfortable using my webcam. So just let me know in the comments, guys, when you watch this, or if you're watching it now, how the quality is, because I might just keep this for live streams and just use my DSLR to make videos. So we'll see. All right. So first I want to point out from my last week episode, I said in my last week's review that I literally hoped that since Clint had to have a family, that it was that Laura Barton was going to be Mockingbird, and that this is an alternate telling of their comic story, because they were married in the comics but divorced, that they, in this reality for the MCU, they actually didn't get divorced, and this is what their lives would have been like if they had children. And lo and behold, in this episode, when we were trying to figure out the Rolex throughout the whole, the whole 6-episode run, why was this Rolex so important for Clint to get back? It's because his wife is Mockingbird. She is Agent 19. I'm like, of course she is. So this explains so much about Laura's character, why she was so okay with him doing all of this crap, like while, going out and killing people, having to leave the family. And she could not have been a normal housewife to understand the fact that hubby was potentially out there killing people. So I love that what I said I would like to happen actually happened for the first time ever in the MCU, because let's be clear, I'm still waiting on Mephisto. But yeah, it's a thing. So happy that played out. So there's that. So this episode picks up where episode 5 kind of ends, and that's they were sitting at a table at Gril's apartment, and they got a message, or basically Yelina sent Kate a message saying, "I know who hired me to kill Clint." And then basically it's your mama. And they get like this whole kind of like surveillance footage of her mom quitting. Like she's been running all of these, running basically all of Kingpin's illegal, trafficking through these shell companies and whatever. And of course she owns a security firm, so it kind of makes sense that he would want her to help. But I thought it was interesting that she did it because Kate's father owed Kingpin money. And so she was doing the cleanup. Now, throughout this whole thing, again, they didn't reveal that she was Madame Mask. We know that her mother is Madame Mask in the comics. Doesn't mean that this is not who she's supposed to be. They just didn't say it by name. But she was so okay with killing her mom and setting her own fiance up to take the fall for the stuff that she was doing for Kingpin. It shows you that the mother is very much the same as she is in the comics, depending on which version you read. Very selfish, does not take accountability. The only difference, again, in the comics, we always thought that the mother was dead and it was the father who was alive and he was just an a-hole. So there is that. And we're going to get to the comments. I know people are talking. I'll look at the comments in just a second. All right. So a lot of stuff goes down in this. But first, we did get Vincent D'Onofrio, I believe is how you say his name. I am crap at saying names. I butcher my own. It's what it is. But the Daredevil Netflix version of him. Now, whether this is the same universe, I don't think it is. I think this is MCU's telling of this character. But there's some controversy around the Kingpin being in this, and actually Eleanor being the one that hired him. I read this. Somebody, I think it was Terrell in the comments, even said something about it before we did the stream today, or the stream started, was that, I guess at the end of Black Widow, which I have not seen Black Widow. I've only seen clips of Yelena. I've not watched Black Widow. But apparently it was Madam Hydra that implies to Yelena that Clint was the one that killed, her sister, and therefore basically unleashing Yelena on Hawkeye. if that's true, they're saying continuity wise, it doesn't make sense in the TV show because that apparently happened like in the spring or summertime, not in the winter time. So then what took Yelena so long? And then it kind of makes the timey-wiminess of the MCU kind of not make sense and not be like, not show like, I guess, continuity. But to be fair, guys, don't get in your feelings about this. The MCU's never been known for continuity. I'm just going to be that way. Yeah, DCEU is horrible with continuity. Like, I don't even think they know how to spell continuity with DCEU. But let's be very, very frank. We had the Thor movie. And then we had, later we had the Avengers movie. And they never explained how Loki survived or how Thor ended up in the Avengers movie when he supposedly couldn't come to Earth. They never explained this. It was just accepted because it's the MCU. Now, to be fair, that was a Joss Whedon concoction and whatever, but still, come on, guys. Kevin Feige came in. He should have been like, hey, we need to get all this up on board. It is what it is. I mean, I understand that a lot of people are in their feelings about that. But again, what I've learned from Endgame is that time travel and MCU timelines run in a way that I will never effing understand. I will never understand how they define time, continuity, or anything. So now I've gotten to the point where I just have to accept the fact that it is happening and then believe them when they tell me that it makes sense, because it doesn't. And I completely agree with you, but it's what you accept when you watch an MCU movie. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. All right. So there are many things that I loved about this. Okay. So first off, we saw that Maya, who Kingpin's like, I love you, we're family, blah, blah, blah. That is very comic bookish because, again, if you know the story about Echo, she was raised by Kingpin after Kingpin killed her father and begged him to take care of and train her and blah, blah, blah. In this version, she doesn't know that Kingpin has anything to do with her father's death. So, it was already the bug was put in her ear by Clint in the last episode. And so now she's just you can see it on her face. She's not even pretending not to know that something's going on. So she goes to see, Kingpin, and she's like, I need some days off. I'm on board with you guys. I want to process this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, in your feelings. Like, you can tell she was pissed. She was looking at him like she wanted to snatch his nuts off. I'm just being real. She's like, you've lost every piece of your damn mind if you think I believe that you love me. But you really could see it on her face that she was 1,000,000,000% convinced that Kingpin had something to do with her daddy's death. And that took her away from trying to kill Ronan/Clint, which, again, Ronan was the one that acted out the order. And at some point, since I know Echo's getting her own TV show, that may be something that comes up later. If we have, more Hawkeye involvement, because I have a feeling that season 2 may focus more on Kate Bishop and potentially Yelena, but we'll get to that in a minute. But if we have Clint back, maybe that will be something that is, addressed. I don't know. I don't think she's going to be able to forgive him because, he is the one that killed her dad. But now she knows that Kingpin, her boss, her father figure, is the one that ordered it in the first damn place. And so she is pissed. So I love that. I love how, Maya's not one of those characters that has to go on this journey where you have to like beat it over her head 1,000,000 effing times. I didn't do it. Kind of like what Yelena was doing a little bit with Clint. Just not, to be honest, though, she didn't have a real conversation with him, but, just kind of like, I didn't kill Nat. She did it to herself, blah, blah, blah. This is what I thought they were going to do with Maya. Maya was going to be one of those characters who you just have to beat her half to death. And then like, literally like, listen to me, woman. He hired me, but it didn't turn out that way. She was just like, she seems to be a critical thinker. So I like that about her a lot. So yeah, that Maya's journey for me in this was awesome. The fact that I'm gonna jump forward a little bit because it's a spoiler review, but I'm assuming you guys watch this episode, so I'm not just gonna recap the whole thing. But her shooting him in the alleyway. First of all, do I think Kingpin is dead? No. It takes a lot to kill that guy. I play Marvel Puzzle Quest, and it takes a lot to kill that damn guy. So I know from watching the Daredevil, basically the Daredevil Netflix version of Kingpin, he's like a baby's kid. So I don't think he's dead. I do think he actually is going to be the main antagonist in Echo's storyline. because I think she's going to realize when her series starts, it's probably going to play off of the fact that she thought she killed him and he's still alive. Which I have a lot of questions about Kingpin's being alive as well, but we'll get to that too in a second. So the things that I liked about the story, I loved that Kate made a lot of very hard and adult decisions. One being, she literally called the police on her mom and had her arrested on Christmas. So she set up this whole plan, and all the people from the LARP group were like their backup, which was hilarious. And they go to this Christmas holiday party that, her mom's company throws. And, everybody who is anybody, I guess, is at this party. And I think it's interesting that, Kate made the decision to not only go to infiltrate her mom, also to try and save her mom, because she knew that her mom quitting meant that she had a target on her back from Kingpin. So her idea was to save her mother and then incarcerate her mother. So it's like, but she made the hard choice to do that because she said it best in this episode. She told Clint, I saw you fighting aliens and jumping off a building and you can't even fly. And that's when I realized that being a hero, you don't have to have powers. You don't have to fly. You basically just need to be strong enough and brave enough to do what's right. And I'm like, Clint was like, damn, yeah. It's like, I never thought about it that way. For me, this was the episode for partners. I wish this one had been called Partners. I know what they called it, So This Is Christmas, but Clint actually referred to Kate in this episode as his partner. And I was so happy. I was so happy about it. Because we've seen this play out in the comics, but to see it on screen is just on a whole nother level. So I love it. He's like, I'm your partner. Your mess is my mess. I was like, I'm like, about damn time. I'm like, something else I loved is that they didn't kill Grills in this season, because Grills' character dies in the comics. He gets killed by somebody in the mafia basically to prove to Clint that they could take things from him. And since, again, in the comics, he doesn't have Laura and the kids, so he basically made friends with his neighbors. And Grills, I believe, is one of his next door neighbors, and they grilled out a lot, and that's why they called him Grill. I believe that's what it was. It's been a while, but they ended up killing him in the comics. So I'm glad that Grills and the rest of the LARPs were not injured. There were no LARP members injured or killed in the making of this season. So I'm very happy about that. All right. So Yelina, the elevator scene. So Yelina shows up at the party to kill Clint. Kate sees her. So she sees her going to the elevator because Clint had gone downstairs because, they were being shot at. And so he wanted to go take out the person shooting at them, which we'll get to that in a second too. And so Yelina gets in the is going to get to the elevator, and the whole banter and the little fight they have between Yelina and Kate cracked me the hell up. I will say though, I'm still a little sad, because the Yelina and Kate of the MCU is always going to be the Kate and America Chavez of the comic book world for me, because that is their relationship. This is how they talk to each other. This is how they banter. And I guess I'm just in my feelings about it because it's a canon friendship / flirtation thing they got going in the comics that we probably will never see in the MCU, because they cast a girl who's only 13 years old. And I said this when she was cast, no hate to her. I'm sure she's going to do a great job in Doctor Strange too. It's just that the America Chavez that I know and love and the Kate Bishop that I know and love are BFFs, and they flirt with each other, and they're just absolutely hilarious. How they talk to each other is hilarious. And I saw it in this episode, but it was Kate and Yelina. And I mean, I know I'm going to have to accept it because the MCU is its own universe. It does its own thing. But I just had to put it out there that for somebody who is a Kate Bishop fan and somebody who is an America Chavez fan and love the West Coast Avengers, it's hard for me sometimes when they do this, because it's like, this is the relationship we would have loved to have seen reflected on the screen, and you just threw it out. So yeah, in my feelings about it, but it is what it is. But the whole elevator scene was absolutely hilarious. I think for me, Kate and Yelina being the main focus for season 2 of Hawkeye would be a dream for me, because they play off each other so well. and so on crack. Like when they're fighting, nobody banters like that when they fight. It's insane. Like even when they were complimenting each other about, that kick in the ribs was good. And that little thing when you throw yourself is great. And I love how Kate's like, stop making me like you. Like, it was hilarious. And we all know if Yelina wanted to kill Kate, she would have done it. I mean, unfortunately, Kate's a good fighter, but very easily. So I love that they're setting them up again, because I mean, I'm pretty sure every reviewer's probably said the same thing. I mean, you have to be blind not to see it. This is definitely the new Clint or Hawkeye and Black Widow relationship. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm not hating on it. It's just I really wish we had gotten America Chavez as the banter and had Yelina come in and out as the smart ass, and I would have been okay with that too. I mean, they could still be really close friends. I don't know. MC is doing its own thing. Let's just put it that way. So, all right. So moving past that, we got to see the tracksuit mafia again, because, we always needed to. The scene with the guy who got the advice from Kate, I think it was in episode 2, where she talked, when he wants to take his girlfriend to the concert, and, she's like, wants to take one of her friends. He starts like arguing. And so Kate gives him advice, and he's like, it worked. We went to see Maroon 5. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, cool, it worked out. Well, what's with the gun? Absolutely hilarious. I mean, it was moments like this that literally just cracked me the hell up, because there's no way it can't. It's just stupid. Like that. What I love about Hawkeye, especially having Kate Bishop in, Hawkeye is very dry. Like he has humor, but his humor is so dry. But I mean, this Kate Bishop, Haley Stanfield's Kate Bishop is goofy as hell, and I love it. She's not completely like Kate. She's got elements of Kate, because Kate talks to herself in the comics. She does. She chastises herself. She does all kinds of stuff. She is what it is. But I love how goofy this Kate Bishop is. She's very goofy. She can be serious when she needs to be, but she's so goofy, and she cracks me the hell up. So yeah, I'm definitely loving that. Like I said, we had the LARPers, we had the Russian assassin, our Black Widow assassin, and we had the tracksuits there. Jack's running around, he's not the swordsman we know. I said this last review. He's supposed to be Clint's trainer / the person who brought him into the fighting world via the circus, a very important person to Hawkeye in the comics. Was basically made into Eleanor's boyfriend and was running around. He was slashing the hell out of people with that sword. I'm not gonna lie. He was taking out a lot of the tracksuit, mafia people with a sword. And Kate kind of was like, I'm so sorry my mother has framed you and put you in jail. And it's just like how we've 180'd since the last episode. Because last episode, we were like, Jack is no good. Jack is doing all this stuff. He's got show companies. I don't know who he's working with. And it's like, oh, it's my mom. Sorry, Jack. You're actually not the a-hole I thought you were. You didn't kill Armand. That was my mom. My bad. So I don't know what we're going to see next for basically Jack. I can't call him swordsman because they don't call him swordsman in this, but I don't know what we're going to do with his character. I mean, if he's going to be someone who appears again in season 2, whenever season 2 happens. But I would like to see him more. I would really love to see Jack. I would like to see him train Kate and, basically in swordsmanship, because it didn't happen like it's supposed to happen with Clint. So if you can't do it with Clint, do it with his protege. I think that would be really interesting. But again, I don't know. There was a question that I had. That little kid who was talking about getting Jack's wine collection, because I'm assuming this is Kingpin's son, because he said, Jack said, your dad bailed me out of jail. And he's like, yeah, my mom says I'm going to get your wine collection. And they keep saying, do you know who I am? He's a little brat. I mean, literally, he is a brat. But I don't know if he's supposed to be Kingpin's kid or if he's supposed to be someone else's kid that's notable in the comics that I don't remember. So if you know who you think that is, please put that in the comments. But my money is that this is this universe's Kingpin's son. And then before, we know what happens to his wife, to Vanessa, and the kid in almost every version of Kingpin. But I'm assuming this is Kingpin Jr. basically. I don't know if this is true. I'm just saying. Kazi, I knew was going to die. I was not invested in Kazi at all. When Maya came to see Kingpin and he's standing in the back and he's like, yeah, she betrayed us. And then he's like basically he was the one that was sent to shoot basically Eleanor, but because Clint was there and Kate was there, he was like, well, I can take all of them out. It's like Christmas, and I'm like, dude, you're not that skilled. So he couldn't kill Clint. He couldn't kill Eleanor. He couldn't kill any of them. He tried to kill Maya. Maya came back and tried to reason with Kazi. He's like, come with me. We can go walk our own path, get away from all this crap, blah, blah, blah. And Kazi's like, this is my life. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, as soon as he even said that, I knew he was dead. And then he attacked Maya and Maya stabbed his ass. And I knew he was going to die. And he's like, you need to run because Kingpin is coming for you. But then, of course, we see Maya in the alley later and she shoots Kingpin. And again, I don't think he's dead. I think this is the setup for her becoming a superhero of her own show and him being her main antagonist. So I think Kingpin is actually put in motion, not to stay in Hawkeye's universe, or show, should I say, but to be in Echo's. So that's going to be interesting if that's Kingpin's always trying to kill Echo and Echo trying to basically thwart whatever he's doing and stay alive. So now let's talk about the fight between Kate and Kingpin. I was like, there were so many moments that he could have snapped her in half because if you know, Wilson Fisk is crazy. He has anger management to the effing extreme. It seems like the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. So when, she's fighting him and she's doing all this stuff and I'm just like, oh, baby, you might die. I'm like, but you're the next Hawkeye, so you do kind of have main character insurance. But I mean, this is the MCU, so they can maim you a little bit. I don't know. I was really trying to see if he was going to really hurt her. But I was impressed with how resourceful Kate is, like to be able to use all the arrows, the pins or arrows to basically create an explosion or a counter explosion to blow him up. Because that's literally the only way she could get him away from her mom. But you got to give the girl props for taking on Kingpin by herself. Now, one could say that Kate was very naive. True. Because she didn't know the magnitude of how strong this guy was. Because the guy is really strong. I mean, it's just like Clint said, you took on Kingpin and not many people walk away from that, that live to tell the story. I kept thinking to myself, damn, where is Matt? Come on, Daredevil, do a cameo in this show too. I really wanted Daredevil to show up. I mean, they're in New York. I know he's supposed to still be in Hell's Kitchen, but come on, you can get there. I really I thought this was a perfect opportunity to have a Daredevil freaking cameo, and they didn't do it. But, it's because they hate me, so it's fine. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with how well she did. And then that's when right after that, and her mom is like making excuses saying, we can start over. It's no big deal, basically. And she's like, you killed people. You did all this horrible shit. And you think it's like nothing, And then she called the police and put her mom in jail. Now, this is my question. Kingpin knows who she is. She went home with Clint for Christmas. She now has a mother that's incarcerated, a father who's not alive, and her aunt who's off traveling the world doing whatever. Acting, I guess. So what is left for Kate in New York City? And how safe is it for her in New York City now that Kingpin knows her identity? So that's something I have a question about because I don't know. I don't know how Kate can go back to living her normal life, in New York, because it would be one thing if he didn't know her identity, didn't know that it was Eleanor's daughter, but he does. So I don't know how safe she's going to be back in New York. So just putting it out there. And does that mean she has to stay and be trained and live with Clint and his family? Which might be what happens. I mean, you literally have Clint, who was an Avenger, and of course, again, Mockingbird, who was a SHIELD agent. So, and technically an assassin at one point. So yeah. If any two people are going to understand that you need to hide and stay alive, it's going to be these two. So I'm really curious. I'm really curious what they're going to do. Because if he is not dead, Kingpin, he is a person that holds grudges and then does something about it. So he's not going to forget that she blew him up And he's not going to forget that because he was injured from that, he allowed himself to be left vulnerable to Maya shooting him. Now, whether he goes after Maya first, I don't know. But I'm just wondering what's going to happen with Kate. So, because to me, Kate can't go home. That's just throwing it out there. She can't go home. I love the LARP. Like one of the LARP members was trying to ask Jack to join. He's like, I've got blood in my tie. That is effing hilarious. They're trying to recruit people on LARP so bad. I'm like, they just need to do it. They just need to do it. Some other cool stuff that I liked. I liked when Kate actually decided to try and go down the building using I forgot what it's called. Black Widow's what's it called? We're just going to call it a non-safety line because I can't remember the name of it. But like, you know how Black Widows are just very graceful and smooth and they can just jump out of windows and just like shoot themselves down anywhere. And Kate's like, okay, I'm going to try it. I mean, I'm scared. And I'm like, I was thinking the way she landed, she should have broken every bone in her body because she just fell. You know, there was nothing graceful about what she did. She hit that ground and I was like, oh, where's the crunch? But she was still able to move. But I love that she actually did that. She was like, yes, it's supposed to be scary. It's terrifying. And she just did it. So I'm super impressed. Like I said, Kate is goofy and I love her. She's such a goofy character. Absolutely love her. Yelina and Clint, that whole moment where they're fighting, she's trying to kill him. He's trying to say, no, she made a choice. You know, Natasha. And he starts humming this song that her and Yelina apparently are the only ones that know. And that got through to her. And she finally listened to him. And he was like, you know, she's like, I loved her so much. And he's like, me too. And then they kind of shook hands. And I think she realized because her sister is stubborn as hell that she couldn't have been able to stop her either. And so she stopped blaming Clint. But I really wish she would have told Clint that she was working because I'm pretty sure she's still working for Madam Hydra. So I really wish that Lady Hydra, sorry. I really wish that they had actually discussed who officially told her that he killed her sister because it was not Eleanor. Eleanor didn't know anything about this. So I really wish she had talked to him about it. And that would have been get some insight on all the stuff that's going on that side of the fence because there's a lot going on. We learned from Falcon and Winter Soldier that there was a lot going on with her, and she's recruiting her own team. So I have a feeling that Yelena is still very much employed by this person. So I would love to know what's happening with that. Let's see. I took so many notes, guys. So many notes. Okay, we talked about. I love the scene where Kate literally shot the Christmas tree down to get Clint out. And I was thinking, okay, like he literally could have died, but that's fine. I love seeing all of the Pym arrows they had when they were taking out all the tracksuit mafia guys on the ice. That was a really cool scene. Something we initially saw in the trailer when they first showed the trailer for this series. But yeah, it was a really good scene. So I loved how well they worked together. So they really do act like partners, which is I'm glad that he's starting to see it that way. So it's a thing. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else I can think of. The technically post scene, not all or post scene of this, not after credits, but post scene with the Dan Rogers the musical. The full musical was effing hilarious. That thing is effing hilarious. I'm sorry. I love him. He's like an Hawkeye. He's a nice guy. I kind of want that song now. I probably should try and find it. But that scene made me laugh. I guess they did that because we never got to see the whole thing because Clint got disgusted in episode 1 and walked out. So now we got to see the entire performance of this musical. And as somebody who did musical theater and who goes to the theater, or was before, pre-COVID, went to the theater all the time, I can appreciate this because I am one of the people that went to see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark on Broadway in New York. So and that was a really hilarious show. So I really, this brought me back to seeing Spider-Man on Broadway. And it also brought me back to the fact that this is really something I would see people do. This is if there were really an Avengers team, I absolutely think Disney would make a musical about it. And it would be like this. It would be absolutely, we're making fun of it, and it would be exactly verbatim what we just saw on that screen. I think it's hilarious. I do love that they throw Ant-Man in there, and he made a point of saying he wasn't even there. So that scene was cool. So I have no problems with that. But yeah. And then Lucky, the pizza dog, they finally remembered him again. I don't know. I'm hoping they left pizza for him or something to eat, because this damn dog probably hadn't eaten in a day or two. No, I think they had him earlier at Grills, so they just haven't walked him like, ever. So maybe he'll get some leg room, a room to have run his legs around on the farm or ranch or where the hell Clint is in the middle of nowhere. There's lots of land, so he can hopefully go out and live his best life there. But I'm glad they brought the dog with them. So yeah, but overall, very, very good episode. Just have a lot of questions on what's going to happen with characters. I think my biggest one right now is Kate. Like, how is Kate going to resume her life, knowing that Kingpin knows who she is and Kingpin knows what she did? And whenever you do anything to Kingpin, he does not forget. He always pays you back. So she has a target on her back, whether she likes it or not. And so I don't know how she can go back to New York. That's just me. All right. So let's see. Trying to go up so I can see you guys' comments. Hello, Dee Marie. I said the same thing about Laura being Mockingbird. I'm glad it was Mockingbird, because that's literally the only wife he has had in the comic books. So I'm like, they were married, they got divorced, but this is kind of like a what if they hadn't got divorced and had kids type scenario. That's what I kind of feel like the MCU does most of the time. What if blah, 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 or what if we did this? So what if Kate's mother lived and her father died kind of scenario, even though technically her mother was alive. I actually love that scenario a lot. I still wish they had kept Kate's older sister in it, but it wouldn't be the first time they got rid of family members in the name of MCU. Her being Mockingbird kind of confuses me, because wasn't Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mockingbird? Yes, but remember, Kevin Feige decided that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer canon, and has no continuity with the rest of the MCU. They completely disassociated with it, which I don't agree with. I honestly don't. And I kind of feel like what he'll do is he'll introduce these same characters in, but it'll be the MCU. So what they're trying to say is the Coulson of this MCU timeline and then the Coulson of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are completely different after season 2, I believe. So like they just completely got away. They did a completely away from all of it, which if you think about it, makes no sense for the Netflix series, because again, when Daredevil premiered, the Avengers Battle of New York was literally plastered all over the wall. People were rebuilding Hell's Kitchen because of the fallout. It makes no effing sense, but Kevin Feige has decided that these shows are not in continuity. To also be clear, the MCU is not known for continuity. None of the comic book universes are. Arrowverse, DCEU, none of them. The closest we've come to this has been animation. And that's just the truth. That's probably technically, and when I'm saying that loosely, because sometimes we have comic book movies based on arcs, which are also other continuities in different Earths. So the idea of continuity in any of this stuff does not exist. The MCU just gets a lot of praise for it because they've managed to have a plot that kind of carries through all of their movies up to their big movies that are all, think of it like they're crossovers, basically, like the Avengers movies and things like that. So that's the only reason they get props for it a little bit. But in all honesty, if you just sat here and dissected every movie that has come out of the MCU since the first movie, you will see that all of them have issues with continuity. So yeah. So let's just put it to this way. After Endgame and the new timeline that Captain America created, which should have no bearing on these timeline whatsoever, just pretend it was like a DC Crisis on Infinite Earth scenario where it just got retconned. And so now this is Mockingbird, Agent 19. That's what I have to do. I know it's weird. I mean, seriously, guys, I know it's weird. I do. Either Bobby took the mantle of Mockingbird or AOS isn't canon. It's not canon. The finale was really good. Eleanor, Madame Matt's a great character. Hopefully there is next season to explore this more. Yeah, I am completely down with this. But again, I really want to have a Kate Bishop run and have Yelina and her be partners because I think they'd be effing hilarious. But it's still, and I'm going to keep saying it, it still breaks my heart that we don't have Kate Bishop and America Chavez because those are my OP BFFs. Even if they never became romantic, I love their friendship. And it kind of irritates me because, that's what I'm a fan of, but MCU is doing its own thing. And I don't hate Yelena and Kate. I think that they have amazing chemistry in terms of how they banter with each other. They'd be great partners. I don't know what other direction they're going with these two characters, but they are absolutely hilarious together. But it's still the conversations, the way they talk to each other. That is such an America Chavez and Kate Bishop, scenario. And I'm really going to be in my feelings if they literally take this relationship in the MCU and they revamp it in the comics and they do the same thing. They wipe America out. I will be so damn mad. I will be so mad. I'm just putting it there. Who in here think Kingpin makes more sense if he's super powered? Hell, I mean, does he need to be superpowered? I think his anger gives him like superpower. I mean, he gets so mad, it's like he levels up. It's like he goes Super Saiyan inside of himself. It's weird. His anger is like on point crazy. I don't know. Kingpin's always been unstable though. Jack was so funny with that sword. He was cracking me up with it. I think he was on guard. But I mean, it's swordsman. What do you expect? Hi, mercenary. How are you? Kingpin has never been superpowered. He's just that strong. Yeah, he's like Bane without the steroids. I remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the characters saw a vision of Ultron, so I guess Bobby took up the mantle. Like I said, the people that were doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did not realize they were in continuity until Kevin Feige said it. They had a whole article about this because they were interviewing Coulson's actor, and he was just like, wait, what? Because he didn't know. So, yeah. I guess they found out when everybody else found out they weren't canon. So like all the Defenders on Netflix aren't canon. I mean, even though you brought Daredevil in from Netflix, it's like, I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. Do you think Hawkeye's journey is over? This is kind of hard because I feel like Clint got really shafted in terms of not having a movie, not being able, like everything that he should have had early on, he's just getting now in 2021 and is via a 6-episode TV series, which may include him in the second season or not. I don't know. He never got a solo anything. And it's sad. We learned all about his life along with the characters because they didn't know. We never got his backstory. We never got anything. So part of me wants to have where Clint has a backstory, where we get like a little mini arc on Hawkeye. If you're not going to do a movie, do a mini arc on Hawkeye before you go headfirst into Kate Bishop's world, which we know we're heading to Young Avengers. We know what's happening, but I just would love to have that. Do I 100% think his journey is over? No, because we still have Secret Invasion coming, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a role in that. But I mean, I know this is all MCU's call, so who knows? I mean, they've done Stranger Things that I didn't agree with. So, but for right now, I'm going to say because of Secret Invasion, I think that he still has a part to play. In terms of suspension of belief is why he gives heroes so much trouble. It would make more sense if he was superhuman. I say that about a lot of characters. Trust me. Hell, Batman should have had powers if you go by that logic, because that man should have broken every bone in his body repeatedly. The character was Inhuman, so I don't know if they're going to keep this since the actual Inhuman series is bad. I mean, you never know. I wonder if they would bring in the humans. That would be interesting. I need them to bring in X-Men before we start mutants, before we start bringing in everybody else. I can't believe they did the comic book moment where she shot Kingpin. That's where he ends up blind temporarily. Yep, which might be what happens. I don't think he's dead. So that might be what happens. And I think that her whole series is going to deal with Kingpin. It's going to be interesting. This episode was so good. One of my faves. I agree. Absolutely. What do you think of the MCU retconning America Chavez? I think her origin's just gay for Disney, but I want them to keep it gay. I'm worried about it. Like I said, I'm a big America Chavez fan. One of the reasons I think they didn't include her in Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, or Hawkeye and Kate Bishop's part of Hawkeye, should I say, is because she's like completely lesbian moms, identifies as a lesbian. I read an article where people were like saying, well, they're asking if Kate and Yelina are going to be a couple after the last week's episode because they had chemistry. And then something along the lines of, we know that Kate is straight because there is a part in the comics where she does say, because she's on the West, when they had the West Coast Avengers, she's like, am I the only straight one on the team? And they quoted that. But what they didn't remember is right after that, America Chavez says, I've seen the way you looked at me, princess, and you aren't that straight. And then later on in the season or the series of the comics, after Kate Bishop's father disowns her and she decides to be a private eye, she's like sitting in the closet with I forgot who it was. I want to say it was Jessica Drew, but it might have been somebody else. But she was investigating something and she had somebody there helping her. And she says, I'm in the closet. This is definitely a running joke that America would be very, amused by, or something on those levels. I have the comic. I have to go and look at it. So it has never 100% been said that Kate Bishop is completely straight. She just said it. And then when America said that line about, I see her been checking me out, she didn't have a rebuttal for it. And she does get very possessive of America when America's with any of her girlfriends, or when she's like not paying attention to her. So they have that really weird, like, gay panic type relationship on Kate's end. So I don't know. I mean, it's open to interpretation. And Yelina in the comics, they've never said whether or not she was a lesbian. So I kind of feel like they're shifting the relationship between America and Kate and redefining it with Kate and Yelina. And they're doing it because they can knock out two birds with one stone. If they do decide to go down that route, we know that Haley plays Emily Dickinson, and she plays a lesbian, Emily Dickinson, who quite frankly, historically may have been lesbian anyway, in the series. So they know that she's used to playing LGBTQ plus roles. I don't know a lot about Eleanor's acting past, but I mean, it would not be hard to see these girls eventually have a relationship, but also they can have the same partnership that Natasha and Clint had as Hawkeye and Black Widow. So they're trying to keep it all contained in this nice little, bubble. It works because Eleanor has very good presence and chemistry on screen, and Kate is a goofball. Haley plays her as a goofball, which is so funny to me. And I love how they banter with each other. So I love their relationship. It's just, again, for me, and I wonder if this is going to come to light eventually for people who are big fans of Kate Bishop, especially Kate and America, and especially the people that ship them. Will they be in their feelings that they literally whitewashed a character in a way? Because I mean, that is something that's, if you look at it from that perspective, that was a Latina identifying superhero who was actually BFFs with Kate and not another white woman. So I don't know how they're going to play that out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that is something that I could see people saying. So MCU sets itself up for cancellation sometimes. I mean, it's just what it is. But outside of that, I don't know. Disney is so pro LGBTQ plus in the month of June. So they can make that pride money. But outside of that, no. They don't support LGBTQ plus anything. And then anybody that says they do is full of shit. I'm sorry. So I don't know what's going to happen in America. Maybe they made her 13 so they didn't have to deal with it. A 13-year-old doesn't have time for a relationship or flirting with people, have girlfriends or any of that stuff. And if that is why they did that, that is BS. And I hope they get called out on that shit. Just saying. They might keep Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but not Inhumans, but I don't know. I don't think they're not keeping any of it. All of it is considered non-canon. If Kingpin can take a car in an explosion, he'll be fine. I agree with that. What'd you think of that musical in the end? I was laughing. It was so damn funny. But you know what, though? The song was catchy. It was really well performed. Yelina and Kate's scene was so great. Yeah, they have great chemistry. They really do. I heard there was actually something about an owl being in a tree in real life. So I didn't know what the owl reference was. I was like, if this had been DC, I would have got it immediately, but I can't remember an owl in Marvel. Not saying there's not one. There was one in Danielle Moonstar's past, but it was more to do with her uncle. But that was just a little, the owl, whenever the owl would show up, that's when they knew that, they were in danger and blah, blah, blah. It was like an omen thing. And that was like a long time ago. That was long time ago. I don't know what the reference to this owl was, but I've learned that sometimes writers will put things in that have nothing to do with comics, and it's something that may have happened in their lives or something they saw in something else. So I don't know. I don't know what the owl was about, but yeah, it was funny. Especially when he I love when they shot the van coming at them, that the truck suit mafia people were in, and of course they shrunk it. And then Kate's like, what are we going to do? And he's like, well, I guess I'll have to ask Scott because I have no idea. And then the owl comes up and just flies off with it. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but that was funny as hell. I think they should abandon the Marvel ABC shows from the MCU. ABC is to Marvel as the CW is to DC. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's all continuity all over the place. Arrowverse right now is hit or miss. I still am very into Superman and Lois. I think Stargirl is very good. I love Legends of Tomorrow, but again, I say this a trillion times. I don't consider it the Arrowverse. We're hoping that Naomi is going to be good, but all the other shows for me are just crap. So it's just really hard for me to wrap my mind around continuity in Arrowverse as a whole because they don't know how to spell that either. People have a big problem about them MCU ruined Kingpin and the Daredevil series legacy. They've said that Kate should have been beaten him that easily, and Kingpin was not even ruthless with Kate. That's true. I mean, I'm be real with you. He was taking it easy on her because the Kingpin that we knew from Daredevil would have snapped her neck. He's like, sit down. I don't know. I think because she has main character insurance, she can't die. I don't know. But it's the MCU's version of Kingpin. So technically this version of Kingpin is not the same Kingpin from the Netflix show. Neither is the Daredevil that we've seen in the MCU. It's not the same. We haven't seen Daredevil. We saw Matt, but he's not the same character that in the Netflix. If you're looking to find a Netflix connection, you are not going to find one because Kevin has said a zillion times they are not canon. And it's sad. It is really sad. I am hopeful that we'll get to have a Luke Cage in the MCU and it's the same actor. Jessica Jones will be the same actress. Even bringing in Colleen as Iron Fist, I would be down for. But again, they will not be the same people that we know with the same history, tragedy, traumas, experiences from the Netflix show because it doesn't exist in this world. So this version of Kingpin, I guess, is a little wimpier. That's basically, the only thing I can think of. In my opinion, I like Imagine Dragons just a little bit better. I agree. I absolutely agree. Hello, Nicholas. How are you? I wonder if Vanessa Fisk will be in this continuity. I'm thinking that she is because if that little boy is Kingpin's son, he said, my mom said, I'm going to get your wine collection. And Jack said, your dad bailed me out of jail. The only person I know that has that kind of money and clout and connections is going to be Kingpin. So yeah, I'm pretty sure right now she's alive. I'm surprised that he didn't mention Vanessa at all or say her name that unique way that he does. That obsessive way, you mean? Yeah. I know in Cloak and Dagger, the Kingpin's first son was referenced in episodes 3 or 4, so I can see that could be this second son. And we all know what happens to that kid. Yep, and Vanessa. Yep. That's why I said earlier that they're still alive right now. Kingpin just threw Kate around like a rag doll. I thought it was funny. Yeah, but I mean, he really would not have worked that hard. He just would have been like, I'm going to kill your mom. Snap. Goodbye. He has there's no reason for him to actually keep her alive. So I don't know why he did that either. I'll be real with you. It's weird. I knew Kingpin was strong, but not that strong. Oh, yeah. His anger management gives him a level up that I've never seen in any other character. It's crazy. Then to add more to it, they're mad that they kill off Kingpin without knowing the actual setup for a villain like him and a returning actor like Vincent D'Onofrio. Diana Frio. I don't know. I'm trying, guys. We don't know he's dead, so don't get mad about it until he actually is confirmed as dead. People like to jump the gun on shit, okay? Miles Morales in the Into the Spider-Verse 2 trailer, people are in their feelings because his hair was more, I guess, 4A or 4B in the first movie, and now it's more like the 3A to 3C in this version. And I'm like, okay, I agree that the art continuity, that is an artistic problem. You need to have continuity across the board. But please don't get in your feelings about a mixed kid. This guy is half Puerto Rican and half black. Their hair could be any texture. To be fair, in Africa, there are a zillion different textures of hair. Not everybody in Africa is running around with 4A, 4B, 4C. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying there are different hair textures. There are different skin tones. There are different eye color. Just please fucking stop. Excuse me for getting in my feelings about that. But I mean, this is something that bothers me. People get in their feelings over stupid crap. It is dumb. We don't know if Kingpin is dead. They have not confirmed it. They would not bring this man in here to do a cameo because basically he was in one damn episode and then we saw pictures of him. I do not think this is Vincent's only MCU run. I think this is his introduction into the series, and we will see him hardcore in the Echo series. People just need to let it go. I'm going to have to get Elsa to start singing it because I'm tired and I don't want to, but they need to let it go. Swear to God. I'm like, people getting it. Whoa, people. I mean, I really need people that have like more to do in life. I have no idea what this is, so I'm just gonna not say anything. If he can survive a point blank explosion, he can survive gunshot. Yep. The angry giant. He is like an angry giant. They made him look a little shorter. I don't know if that was just me. Like the camera angles made him look a lot. I remember him being like really towering in the Netflix show. That our match just really short. I don't know. There's 2 heroes I want to see fight Kingpin that we actually might end up seeing, courtesy of No Way Home. Oh yeah, there are a few that I would like to see him fight. Kate Bishop superhero landing fall. That, I mean, it was hilarious, but I will say it was very realistic. She's like, it's supposed to be scary. I'm effing terrified, and she still did it. So good on her. Wait, since we are doing Young Avengers, by this logic, would the first mutant we see be my baby David, Prodigy? I would love it to be Prodigy, but I don't know. That is a good question, actually. I don't know. Well, because I get worried on how they're going to bring mutants in. So I guess that's another thing. Like the timing needs to be soon, because if they're going to be in Secret Invasion, they need to start introducing some folks. He actually did survive a bullet to the face in the comics. That scene in Hawkeye was a one-on-one shot from the comics. Maya shoots Kingpin, which causes him to be temporarily blinded. Yeah. What kind of movie will we get next? New Avengers or Young Avengers? I don't know. I mean, to me, I feel like it would be more New Avengers, but I'm just saying Young Avengers because even if they do New Avengers, they're going to call it Young Avengers, just like they did with Andrew Garfield's movie, because that was not the Amazing Spider-Man run. So, they just they do what they want to do in the MCU and the Marvel Universe. Same with DC. Kate might want to stay with Clint and his family for the time being after everything. Yep. I wouldn't. I don't get it. Clinton will be training her. Now, I feel like Clint will be, and I think that that's going to cause some issues with Lila, his daughter, because that's who he was training before they got snapped out. The big snap happened. So will she be in her feelings about not being the next Hawkeye? Because, I mean, technically speaking, he has a daughter, which is the successor. He also has a son or 2 sons. So maybe we'll have a whole slew of Hawkeyes. I don't know. It would be interesting. I thought Kate actually using her brain to defeat Kingpin made sense without it. And those arrows, she was going to be dead. Yes, she almost died. I will give you that. She's very resourceful. And that's what saved her a lot. I think what saves her with Yelina is Yelina likes her. That's literally it. Clint will be training Kate for a later battle with Kingpin. Eleanor will pose a bell and continue on with Madame Mask and take a contract out on Kingpin, uniting Kate and Yelina. That could be an angle. I think some of the variant timelines are the same until a certain point, which is why we have different variants. And you see, I have no problem with them deviating from some of the lines. The only problem is do it in a way that doesn't look like you're obviously not remembering what you put in the previous stuff. Because again, I have not seen Black Widow. I haven't seen it. I may bite the bullet over Christmas break. I don't know. Encanto is coming out, so I'm actually really looking forward to watching that on Christmas Eve on Disney Plus. But I might bite the bullet, even though I'm not a big Scarlett Johansson Black Widow fan. I'm just not. But I might bite the bullet because of Yelina and make myself watch the movie. So I'm speaking from a point of view of not having seen the movie, but knowing I watched the end credit scene and I've watched Yelena scenes on YouTube. I kind of feel like it is a big deal if Madam Hydra or Lady Hydra, whatever you want to call her, if she's the one that told you about Clint killing your sister and sent you on this path of revenge, and then it turns out that in Hawkeye, Kate Bishop's mother hired you. There is a big discrepancy there if that is what actually went down. So, and I mean, if the seasons are different, all the timelines are different, it doesn't make sense to me. Why would she wait so long? If she found out about it in the spring or the summer, why did she wait to the winter to come kill him? Why did she track him down at home? I mean, there's so many times she could have tracked him down. This is literally what Yelena does. So yeah, it's hard for me. But again, with MCU, they know that they're going to get our money. They know that we're going to watch the stuff, so they can do what they want. That is what it boils down to. I don't think Coulson was resurrected in the current MCU timeline. There's never been evidence he was in the films or S.H.I.E.L.D. came back either left or allowed. This actually ties with AOS being a variant timeline. But initially, they would talk about it. And Nick Fury, because remember, Nick Fury was the one who actually sent him on I forgot what it's called. The Tahiti Project. It's been a minute since I watched AOS. When he thought he was in Tahiti, was actually being resurrected. That whole program was referenced earlier in the Avengers type movies. And also Nick Fury did talk about him being around Captain America. There was the running joke about how many collectibles of Captain America that he still has. And we know that was something that we saw from the movies. There's so many things that tied them together. And then later on, it was just like, oh, well, we're not canon anymore. It's strange. And I don't know if they bring Coulson in Secret Invasion, which is when I think we would see him. I don't know if he's going to be the same Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy or if he's just going to be the MCU. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm used to this. I am used to not understanding the timeline. I'm just used to the continuity errors, question marks, what the heck. I'm used to it. Because to be fair, the first Avengers movie was filled with them. Filled with them. There were so many questions I had. So it's a thing. In the comics, Clint is sort of the bad boy of the Avengers, like Wolverine for the X-Men, and we totally missed that dynamic in the movies. Yeah, I mean, he's a family man now. And he was a family man, apparently, in a lot of the Avengers movies, because I think his oldest boy is 13. So, just saying. The main movie never mentions S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back after Winter Soldier, so I think Coulson is dead in the main MCU timeline. They need to tell us this. Like that, until they tell us that he is dead, I'm not going to buy that. I'm pretty sure he was in Captain Marvel. I thought he was in another. I really thought he was another something as an Easter egg and something else, but I'll have to go back and think about that. But we need to know that Coulson is officially dead. Until they say that Coulson is dead, officially dead, and this is not the same AOS person. I mean, I'm not going to buy anything. I don't think America will be changed, the extreme backlash to that. I mean, but she already is technically changed. Her age does not match up with Kate's, as far as I'm concerned. There's no way that a 24-year-old and a 13-year-old are going to be talking about relationships, sex, or anything else. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, the only thing that I will buy is if America Chavez is only going to be 13 years old or young teenager for this movie. Because I could see it, because there is a comic run that I mention all the time where Doctor Strange loses his powers and he goes around the cosmos in one of Stark's ships trying to get all these aliens and different people from different dimensions to teach him magic. And he does go to Utopian Parallel, and he does meet Elena, I forgot her other mother's name, but America Chavez's mothers, to try and help him teach magic. And I think at the time she was about 9 or 10. So I can see that being that maybe continuity wise they were younger at that point, but that also would mean that Peter was younger. I don't know where they're going with that. I don't know if she's going to be young or if she's eventually going to be around the same age as Kate when they meet. I don't know. I never realized that Big Barda actually made her first comic book appearance in a Mr. Miracle issue, 1971. She was created because, she was married to him. They were married. Yeah, you should go watch our trash comics when we talk about Big Barda and Superman, the porn episode, the porn issue, basically. During the musical, at the end of Hawkeye, I realized why Clint turned off his hearing aid. It was hilarious, though. It was hilarious. I think the hope for LGBTQI representation is D+. I can't see the movies doing better. I'm gonna be real with you. Disney and Disney Plus does not, well, Disney as a whole, they will be very supportive during Pride Month. You will get Disney in a rainbow shirt. You'll get all types of Disney characters that have rainbows. They want that money. There really isn't a cause out there that Disney does not want to put their little hands in to get that money. But at the end of the day, you tell them, I mean, this is literally established characters. They will never do it. Like Angela is a huge lesbian, and I know for a fact she will never grace the Disney screens from the comic world, because there's no, she's like how Wonder Woman used to be. There's no time for men. Men what? There's no way that Angela will ever be like introduced into the MCU. And if they do introduce her and they don't keep her a lesbian, that's when this shit's going to hit the fan. Just saying. Do you watch The Witcher? I have not, and people have been telling me to. I know we have it in our queue. I know we need to watch Witcher, but I have not gotten around to doing that. So I haven't seen the last season. I know there's a new season, but I also like Lost in Space, and I haven't watched any of the Netflix version, and people told me that was pretty good, and they just put up a new season of that too. So I'm behind. I am behind, people. I just saw the Spider-Man movie yesterday. I won't give spoilers, but the ending is so sad. Need a 4th movie. Go watch my spoiler review, because you'll know exactly how I feel about it. I love the movie, but they did do something that ties in with the comic series or comic run that I hate the most from Marvel in this whole effing world. And now that's the only negative thing I have to say about it. I do think the main issue is Disney executive Ryan can only do so much. He still has bosses, and he did fight for Black Panther. True. Yeah, like I said, Disney has always been problematic. So this is nothing new. I think in Shang-Chi, too, they should give him the Iron Fist power, so we have to deal with any white savior nonsense. See, okay, so this is something that I always thought was interesting. I agree that we need to have a lot of representation, and then I say the same thing about Miles. Whenever I hear people say first Black Spider-Man, you know me, I'm going to say it. I'm like, technically he's mixed. Shang-Chi was mixed, and Mandarin was mixed. I bet you people didn't know that, but yeah, Mandarin is half Asian, half European. So white savior nonsense is not technically applicable to characters that are part white because obvious reasons. I feel like if we were going to have a character that is going to represent fully, like full Chinese culture, it should be somebody who is fully Chinese. And I say this across the board because I respect culture. I respect identity. I respect groups. It's why me looking like this, I am not comfortable identifying as fully Native American, which I am part Native, or fully Black, because I don't look it. I'm too ambiguous. And I feel like if somebody said to me, if I got a role, I'm a voice actress. I do theater, but say I was going out for movies or TVs or whatever, and somebody's that or TV series, and somebody's like, "Oh, she's the first Black or the first Native American superhero in this genre." Well, people are going to look at me and be like, "What the hell?" So that's the only reason I'm so even now in 2021, I am 45 years old. I'm still having the same conversations that I've had when I was in elementary, junior high, high school, college, my first job. It's like how you identify in this world is important because everybody has to put labels on shit. And so that comment, what you're saying, I get what you mean, But at the same time, the character that you're staying on, this person has been made monoracial for the MCU. And honestly, they never really retconned his mom. Somebody told me that he was retconned in the comics. They really didn't. They just never talked about his mother. His mother was white. She was European in the comics. So he's Eurasian. So yeah, I just had to throw that out there because that is truth. And people don't like to hear the truth, but it's true. And mixed people exist. We are all over the country, all over the world, all over the planet, whatever. Just wish people understood that. I like some of the Netflix shows, but I feel they were way too long episode-wise and a struggle to watch sometimes, even though most of the casting was great. I love the Netflix shows, except for I was pissed about Luke Cage season 2 because they made my boy Luke Cage into a stereotype, and it pissed me the hell off that they left it like that. And I did not like Iron Fist. I mean, I'm usually a person that doesn't follow the masses. I don't like hive minds. I don't give a crap about any of that crap. But I really did agree about Finn as Danny. I never got into it. The only time he kind of a little bit resembled Danny was when he actually came over to Luke Cage's season when he did his cameo. I did not like him in the crossover. I don't know. I felt like he was not a good pick for Iron Fist. But again, the Netflix also took liberties because remember, if we're talking about continuity, they did their own thing and like they swapped partners because we all know that Misty Knight, Mercedes was actually Danny's lover. And there was never a Colleen and Danny thing. And that, of course, Jessica Jones eventually ends up marrying Luke Cage and having Daniela. So like all that stuff was never even in the series. So yeah, it took a lot. It took a lot of me just like suspending disbelief. Kingpin is not dead. He has evil insurance. That's true. I'm like, you can't kill evil. He's a baby's kid. He doesn't die. He multiplies. I can see Iron Fist appearing again, but the actor won't be the same. I wonder if they make Iron Fist half Asian instead to balance out what they did with Shang-Chi. I would not be opposed to that. I think there is a comic run, isn't there, where they have he's either full Asian or half Asian Iron Fist. I have to go back and don't quote me on that. I'm going to go back. I haven't followed Iron Fist story and comic, continuity like I have some of the other characters. So I'll have to go back and look that up. But I wouldn't be opposed to that. That would be cool. I don't think Kingpin is dead. It's an introduction. Oh, absolutely. I think this is a precursor to Echo's scene. It's like when we were watching Black Lightning. We got that painkiller insert episode that was supposed to be like their pilot. I think this is what Echo's pilot was right there. It's why she wasn't involved in the whole Clint, Yelina, none of the other parts of the story. This is her story, her struggle. We basically are seeing what Echo is going to be going through when her series starts. There's a Legion of Superheroes show going to be on HBO box covering the Brian Michael Bendis run. Oh, did they just announce that? Or am I behind? Because of course I'm behind. Will it be animated or live action? I want to know that too. I've been wondering what the Young Avengers roster will be like when all is said and done. Me too. I mean, we know that we're going to have Wiccan or, I'm going to put up a list of people that I think is going to, that are going to be involved because we know Wanda's kids are going to be in it. I don't know if we're going to get Hulkling. We should. But there's so many people they could leave out and some people they can introduce. We don't have mutants yet either, so I don't know. I want them to introduce the mutants. That's what I want. I need the mutants in, especially Professor X. I need Beast. I need people that can be in the Illuminati. So I don't know when the Fantastic Four is being released. I have not followed the latest news. I need to go do that and see if they've actually announced if they're doing the new Fantastic Four movie in 2023, 2022, whenever. Because I know that they have to introduce the Fantastic Four for a lot of reasons, a lot of plot lines. To me, they should have already introduced mutants. Before we even did WandaVision, we should have had X-Men. I'm just throwing that out there. But again, it's a thing. Maybe we'll get the mutants as a side effect for whatever Wanda is going to do in Doctor Strange too. And by the way, they released the teaser today, I believe. It's the same teaser they show at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's the one that I talked about in the review. So if you have not seen the Doctor Strange 2 teaser, check it out because it is very, very cool. And you will have questions. Hey there, Ray. I can't wait to see Wiccan a little older, though I do want to see the kid actors again from WandaVision. Yeah, they probably, by the time we get to them, they probably will be like a little older because we don't know when the Young Avengers will actually start. This could be like 5-6 years from now. I would love to see Doctor Strange Supernatural team have their own movie for a supernatural threat. That would be cool. I think that it's animated. Hey, even animated would be good. DC does amazing animated projects, so I would be completely okay with that. Yelena could have easily killed Kate. I do not think she is at the peak level of human possibility like Natasha, the Widows, and Bart. Yeah, I feel like if she wanted Kate dead, she would have killed her. I love how she kept smacking her hand in the elevator. It was almost like a parent and a child. It was funny as hell. At the very end of S.H.I.E.L.D., they went to a completely different timeline period. I do know that. I knew that they kind of shifted continuity at that point. But for them to say it was never continuity, that's what bothers me. Because season 1 specifically played off of the first, I think it was the first Avengers movie. I don't agree with that if he's saying that all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not continuity, because that's impossible. It's just like, for me, saying the Netflix series were not continuity. And again, you show the Battle of New York with the Avengers on the damn wall of every newspaper, and everyone kept talking about it. How are we going to rebuild the city? I mean, that makes zero sense to say that that's not canon, because that literally is what they were talking about. So I have a lot of issues with that. Oh my God, Clint is basically the Roy Harper of the Avengers. Look at Young Justice and tell me that I'm wrong. You're not wrong. You're not. Maybe they'll find a way to incorporate either Coulson or Daisy Johnson in the MCU. I would love for them to have, Quake in there. I don't know if they will. I mean, honestly, they just put people in. They don't even explain anything. They're just like, here's this character. If not to spoil Spider-Man if you haven't seen it, but they do incorporate a character, another character that is technically not supposed to be canon into the MCU. So, I mean, I just think they're going to throw people in. So if Daisy just shows up as Quake, she may have no affiliation whatsoever to S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's what the MCU just decided to do. Coulson's appearance in Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s, so it doesn't affect Coulson's continuity in the main MCU and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. True. It is when Captain Marvel first got her abilities. But what I'm saying is, until they announce that from Captain Marvel's point to when he supposedly died, the Avengers, and was resurrected in season 1, until we actually have them say he died that day, and that never happened, I'm not going to believe it. Especially if Coulson ends up in the movie. I would really hate for them never to use that actor again. I think that would be a waste, basically. The rumor is saying that Matt Murdock will be in 3 episodes of She-Hulk, and he will end up suiting up as Daredevil. He needs to be. If he's going to be in anything, it's going to be in She-Hulk, because it's the law. It's lawyers. So I'd be down with that. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I mean, I can see that being a thing. I would love to have a lot of the people from Daredevil Netflix show reprise their roles. I remember the porn episode discussion with Superman. The writing was horrendous. We talk about it. It is on this channel. We will get Young Avengers in Pride Month so they can capitalize and then forget about us for the rest of the year. Yep. Like, we know you exist, queer people. But you know what? Just for now. I will tell you, in the voice acting community, that's not something that happens. Like, a lot of people are very sensitive to LGBTQ plus, as well as to being a POC. So it is definitely a climate shift. And if Disney wants to survive, they're going to have to jump on board or stop making shit. And I'm just putting it out there, because the people are not accepting BS anymore, and they're not accepting not being included. Inclusion is a thing. People are tired of not being a part of it. And so LGBTQ plus is going to have to be a focus with a lot of stuff, because it is reality. I want this world and our entertainment world to get to where seeing 2 people same sex, or having somebody who's a different gender, or somebody who identifies as non-binary, transgender, whatever, becomes the norm. And so when people are like, you're just throwing this in my face, it's because you don't let us say anything about it. You just wipe us out like we don't effing exist. So I want Disney to understand that no matter what they say or do, we exist. And then that way, when we have, LGBTQ plus, like, kind of, I like to say queer baiting moments, because that's what it is. Like in Raya and the Last Dragon, which we know that Raya is flamingly gay. There's no way to even interpret that. Her own voice actress said that she thinks she's a lesbian, but Disney just didn't have a kiss between these two characters. Didn't have it, like, nothing that would indicate that they were a couple, like every other Disney movie would get if they were heterosexual. We're just tired of seeing that, because it's stupid. Don't give us hope that it's going to happen and then, like, completely it's the queer baiting thing. It's like something we've seen in anime. They do it in anime notoriously. They've done it for years in Japan, where they make an anime, have two girls, they're doing things that are way too close to be friends, and then they were like, oh, they're just BFFs. Because I fill up my BFFs all the time. I sleep in the room with them. I hide their underwear in my drawer. I do all of these things that people are like, you're just seeing things, they're friends. I wanted to get away from that. I want us to be not, get to the point where, being heteronormative is actually not a thing. It's really weird to me. I'm sorry. I have lots of opinions on that. And Disney rubs me the wrong way. And I hate it, because I love Disney movies. But at the same time, I'm mad at myself sometimes, because I know that they aren't made for me or my daughter or people like us, because they don't think we exist. So, yeah, I have a lot of problems with that, guys. I have problems with my mixed identity and my sexuality. If we're going to be real, I feel like I don't exist across the board half the time. Let's see. Do you prefer Angela from the Marvel universe or from the Spawn universe? Both. I like Angela as a whole. But there's a specific comic run that I love. It's her and her girlfriend. Oh, is it Sarah? What? I forgot her damn name. Where she goes to find her, like, years later. I'll have to find it. It's a very cool run, and I love Angela in that. I love how Angela's like, I'm going to sacrifice this and this. Even though I love you, I'm prepared to die. I love Angela. I think Angela is a very cool, underrated, underused character. I really would love to have a solo series about Angela, which I know would tie in with Thor and all that, but I think it'd be cool. Shuri is gonzo now due to the actress being problematic. What? Such a cool character lost because her handlers couldn't keep a muzzle on her. What did she do now? What? The last thing I heard was she got injured on set. I don't. For Spider-Man, I'm just curious how they're going to reintroduce that one character to everyone. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. We can't talk about it in here because I don't know who's seen Spider-Man. Scarlet Witch versus Dr. Fate. Huh. Who would win? Or who is more powerful? That's hard. Because again, like when I talked about Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch, it depends on who's writing it, and also depends on the mental state of Wanda. Because Wanda is very OP to the point where it's not fair. She's an effing Nexus being. So, like, but then Dr. Fate's power is pretty omnipotent too. I think it just depends on who. So if Wanda's having a non-focused day, I think Dr. Fate could take, Scarlet Witch. I think if Wanda is very focused on taking Dr. Fate out and basically unwriting him from existence, then Dr. Fate would probably go down. So yeah, that's my answer. Depends on Wanda and who's writing the comic and which one they like more. I wonder how pitching a series that isn't Rainbows and Kittens goes for Disney. The reason they didn't pick up Lizzie McGuire series was because she was going to have an affair. Oh, wow. Really? Wow. Okay. I don't know, actually. I do. It's probably by Raven probably will never, is it That's So Raven spinoff? Raven's house or Raven's home is probably why she will never have a same-sex relationship, even though she's married to a woman in real life, is because Disney is not going to let that happen. It's a kid's show. What will the children think? Well, I mean, like they see it all the time. I wouldn't say what the hell did that, Maria. Some people live an experience that is their own, but not only theirs to have. And I do believe in big tent in our ethnic experience. Wait, what are you talking about? Like some people live and experience it as their own, but not only theirs to have. And I do believe in a big tent in our ethnic experience. Are you talking about? So are you talking about identifying as mixed? Are you talking to? I'm confused. I always say this, guys, and this is my soapbox. Again, 45 years of this shit. Okay, I have been told throughout my entire life that I need to pick a parent. And I say this in a video I made with Victoria because there was a YouTuber that was apologizing for claiming to be mixed. And what normally happens with mixed kids, especially if you are white and black, you either identify as white if you're passing or you identify as black because society tells you you can't be both. I am a person who does not believe in that shit because it took two parents to make me. So I'm not going to denounce a parent to make society or anybody else happy. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I know who I am. I know who my parents were. I do not believe that I don't have access to my black side because my mother was white, because quite frankly, I never expected my black and Native American father to explain the Scottish culture to me. I don't expect my Scottish British mother to explain what being Native American and black is. And anybody that expects you to do that is full of shit. And I do not understand that because nobody walks into your house and tells your parents what to tell you, especially when you're monoracial. So I have a lot of opinions on that, and I can debate that shit all day. So to get off my soapbox, I'm gonna move on. I'm basically a proud mixed person. I have never not claimed my blackness, my Native Americanness, and I'm not gonna disclaim or denounce my mother's Scottishness and the fact that she was a white woman from the UK. Get over it. I mean, genetics is not that hard, people. It's just not. I do like the Netflix series. I like the grit, and they were so easy to binge. A super story. I love Jessica Jones the most, though. I love Jessica Jones. I wish we got more of the Jessica Jones from the comics, especially her struggles with dealing with Luke Cage. I wish they had gotten together and were already married and then had their baby already. I would have loved to have seen that kind of progress in that way, because what they really did was kind of stupid. I don't like the final seasons of Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, to be real. I just don't. I really don't. The new upcoming comic book run of Iron Fist will be fully Asian. Okay. I knew that. I remember reading a blip on that somewhere. I just didn't realize if it was going to be fully Asian, if it's going to be Eurasian. So that's cool. Well, then they should take that run and incorporate it into the MCU. I have no problem with that at all. I can't wait for the Legion show on HBO. They did just announce animated. So that one's, I feel like they're doing a lot of animated, and I think they're doing like mini series is what I'm hearing of certain series on HBO Max. Like I know I'm really looking forward to Green Lantern. Like especially if they're going the way that the way it seems they're going to be doing generations. So like you get generations, you know, of different very known Green Lanterns and then throwing and incorporating in some original ones, which they can do because there are so many damn lanterns. You really can get away with that. And I also heard that we're getting a Black Canary movie from Birds of Prey, Black Canary, and then Batwoman or Batgirl, I think it is. So all of those are cool. I'm looking forward to that. Even if Shang-Chi is mixed, making him Iron Fist wouldn't play into the Colonel White savior trope in the same way Danny Rand's story arc does. True. Your Asians are still victims of colonism and racism. To be fair, everybody is a victim of racism. Let's be clear. Racism is not coined to one. My spouse works for an organization that deals with this. And I listen to some of the things that people say. You would be shocked. You would be absolutely shocked at some people. There are POCs in this world who are discriminated against every day and are very scared to say anything because they feel like they don't have a voice because they don't have a movement. And it's true. There are a lot of people that you would not expect every day that go through shit, and there's nothing. Nothing's ever said about it. And it's sad. It is very, very sad. Haven't we had mutants from the Venom movie? Isn't Carnage girlfriend a mutant? Technically, see, that's what I was trying to figure out. But to be fair, though, they are not on the same Earth as established. See, I don't want to spoil anything. But technically, if you haven't seen Spider-Man, then I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, they're not technically, they're canon, but they're not MCU canon technically, even though technically they're in the MCU, but technically aren't in the MCU, if that makes sense. So they're not, Spider-Man and this Venom are not on the same Earth. So I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Shriek should have been a mutant. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't straight up say mutant. And that's the thing. They didn't come out and say it in the movie. Because I just saw, literally, we watched it the night before last. We just saw Venom 2. And I don't know. I kind of feel like if they were establishing a mutant, look, and then because they didn't say it. That's the thing. They never really said what she was. We know what she is because, from the comics, but we don't know. Yeah, this is hard. That's hard. That is hard. Until they come out and straight up say mutant. She is a mutant by what the definition of a mutant is, but at the same time, they didn't call her a mutant. They called her insane, and they just talked about keeping her muzzled, basically. So I don't know. They have basically reshot like the whole movie from Strange, but I hope it keeps its horror vibe. It was originally pitched. I thought they didn't redo the movie. So somebody told me that they didn't redo that movie, that they just did like parts of it because of COVID. So I'm confused. Why? Like, what would make them reshoot the whole movie? I really want to know. Like, what made them go back? Did they do like a focus group and they didn't like it? Like, or did something happen and they didn't get like permits because of COVID and they have to go back and shoot? Like, what would make them not be able to finish this movie? I expect Hulking to be introduced in Secret Invasion if they follow the trend that they've been going with Disney Plus series and introducing Young Avengers. I would love that. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath. I mean, they've been giving us these Easter eggs on stuff. And the one that I really like, I said earlier, I want to happen is to have the Atlas Foundation introduced, only because you're pumping up Jimmy Woo for something. Monica said, I can see you being a great leader. That is complete Easter egg for him being the leader of the Atlas Foundation. So, I mean, do it. But to be fair, this could be another Mephisto thing, a misdirection, an Easter egg that is very, very pertinent and recognizable to comic fans, but it doesn't have anything to do with MCU. So, I don't know. It could be years before we see Hulking, honestly. To me, Yelena is too funny and I love her humor. It just makes sense, makes her such a different character in a very foreign way. Yelena's crazy. I love her. Yeah, as a Black Widow MCU, Natasha should have been. I absolutely. Okay, to be fair, if they were going to do Natasha correctly, like her origin version, like talk like Silver Golden Age type stuff, she would be very serious. Like, because Natasha didn't smile. Natasha was just, she was just mad all the time. So, and she was just banging Winter Soldier. That's what she was doing. And then she was banging Hawkeye, and she was banging like other members of the Avengers teams. But they can't have that version of Natasha. So if they had to have Natasha be funny, charismatic, charming, adorable, then yeah, Yelena is definitely the way to go. But I mean, I'm not complaining because I like the fact that we have Yelena now and that Scarlett Johansson is gone. So I mean, that's just me. Technically, she's not gone though. She's producing for Marvel, which is interesting. But I'm not a big Natasha fan. I've never been a big Natasha fan. It's why I didn't watch the Black Widow movie. So that, in a nutshell, if Yelena had been the star of that movie, I could tell you I would have watched it. But because it was this version of Natasha, I don't like MCU Natasha, so it's a thing. S.H.I.E.L.D. originally was canon, but they have gone back and forth in time so many times in dimensions since like season 3 to 5. It became an offshoot universe. Yeah, that's what I said. The first 2 seasons I knew were definitely in continuity. And around middle, I think, of season 3 is when they started going their own direction. But I mean, Kevin Feige said it was never, and in one of the interviews, he said in the article, it was never considered canon. And that's what I have a problem with. Because that can't be true. It just can't be. I've never asked, but what is your favorite Power Ranger TV series? Okay. Favorite Power Ranger TV series. So it used to be, I was a big Go-Go 5 person for a while, so I like Lightspeed Rescue. Only because I was so fascinated with them having the whole base under the sea and stuff. It wasn't a bad show by any means, but it wasn't the sibling dynamic that I missed, so I guess I had problems with that. If you don't know, I'm a huge Gokaiger fan. You probably see Luca behind me, Gokai Yellow. I also have the Somewhere around here, I have the Gokaiger Henshin phone. It's somewhere around here. I also have Tokager, because if we're talking about Sentai, Gokaiger, Maji Ranger, and the Tokager are my three favorites currently. But in terms of Power Rangers, I really liked RPM. Technically I liked Ninja Storm because I liked Hurricaneger. But it was hit or miss for me. I guess it's easier for me to ask which ones I didn't like. I'm like, so I hated Megaforce, especially Super Megaforce. They butchered Gokaiger. But yeah, I think right now, if I had to pick one show that I liked more than all of the rest of the Power Ranger shows, it would probably be Power Rangers in Space. Because for some reason even though Mega Ranger was a thing, I just kind of like the idea of, I like anything with space and pirates or people in space. So I think Power Rangers in Space was probably one of my favorites overall. The one that I disliked the most, the two that I disliked, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, and I hated Operation Overdrive, because Bokanger was a very interesting show, and I hate what they did with it in American continuity. So yeah, that's it. I am really liking Dino Fury right now, even though I still think they should have called it Dino Knights. I didn't have a problem with Beast Morphers. To be fair, it adapted well, so I have no problem with that. It's just I think I still like Power Rangers in Space a little bit more than the other ones. Hope that answered that question. Can Yelina get her date serum that makes her impervious to toxins and age slow, please, Disney? I need my widow to be enhanced. Yeah, that would be cool. Who is a better lawyer, Matt or Jennifer? Depends on the case. Like, Jennifer's a funnier lawyer. Matt's more serious, so I think Matt would be better getting you off, like if you're a criminal. I really wanted Jennifer Gardner to be the She-Hulk form of her character. Perfect body portions for it. Yeah. Trusted Bros might be going out of business now. Like, they only have one truck, right? I feel Letitia's Shuri scandal is easy to fix if she changes her mind, since all the information out there apart from her rant in 2020 comes from unverified rumors, which Disney can deny. What did she do? I need to look that up. Disney movies are cool, but the company is trash. Absolutely. There are reports that the kid actors for Wiccan and Speed filmed the scene with Benedict Cumberbatch for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Of course they did, because did you see in the teaser, you see Scarlet Witch like literally hovering over something? Now, I don't know if that's a Darkhold or for something else, but she's going to get her boys back, because why else did she hear them asking for help in the end of WandaVision? So yeah, everyone's like, she's going to be the biggest, aid to Doctor Strange. I'm like, no, she's going to be a villain. People don't know. They don't know. She's going to be a villain in that movie. They can just recast Shuri like the way they did with Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. They could. I also love the way they did the Marvel logo intro by adding all the old Marvel logos with this multiverse effect. Shuri, actress, anti-vaxxer. Oh, okay. It's hard. It's hard when you're an actress and you work around a lot of people and then you don't want to take the vaccine. I can see that being a concern. The actor who plays Cloud in the Final Fantasy franchise, the games and the I think his Advent Children. His name is Steve Barton, I believe. He is on a TV show or a soap opera, and he got fired because he's an anti-vaxxer. So that just happened too. So that is happening. Have you seen the new origin story on Young Justice from Vandal Savage for metahumans, Homaji and Horman and Nabu? I have not. So I'm right now in the beginning of season 3. So I've caught up, but I'm still not there. I'm trying to hurry because, I love my Lady Shiva, and, they're doing Lady Shiva, so I got to watch it. But yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Raven's House. That's what it's called. Raven's House. Okay. Thank you. Sure, Ms. Letitia refuses to get vaccinated. She actually got COVID and didn't get injured on set, but the film is too far along for the vaccine mandate to apply to BBT. She wants to quit. Oh, boy. I've been told to pick, but that's not real. Having to choose is a construct, but my experience is my experience. Who needs to pick or what label I want to use or what experience I have? I'm just me. See, this is how the world should be, but unfortunately it's not. And again, I got into this really big debate, and the reason we ended up doing the Western, the Western that Idris and Regina King and all them were in, which went out of my mind again. It always goes out of my head. I'm sorry. But basically, there was a big controversy about, them casting a mixed woman to play Stagecoach. I would call her Annie, but I think it's Stagecoach Mary, because historically the character was really black skinned or dark skinned, and then I think she was actually, if I remember, she wasn't extremely big, but she was bigger, kind of like what they do in the DC universe with Amanda. They did to this character. They made her very thin, very light skinned, and a biracial or mixed person was playing it, which I agree is not right. It's not. They should not have done that. Now, for me, POC people cast her, and I think that was really messed up. That goes back to M. Night Shall Not Be Done, which is what I call him, and his Avatar interpretation. That was a complete whitewash and completely stupid. So when a POC crew and casting department does it, you got to get in your feelings, because what the hell were you thinking? It happens enough in Hollywood. Why were you doing it? So they cast her. And she's getting all this shit for it, but she got cast. And, as an actress, you're going to get that money. But the problem that I had about that movie was the fact that Cherokee Bill, who has the name Cherokee in his name, was made completely black. And he actually was one of the white passing ones. And he was Mexican, Native American, black, and European. And they had no problem saying that didn't matter. And that is the problem that I have. Mixed erasure is a thing. It doesn't matter how we choose to identify. If you cast a character, a monoracial character with a mixed person, and then people give you shit for it, they get so upset that you could not make this person monoracial, which again, I agree, especially if it's a black actor and you cast me, or actors, and you cast me in this role, and this role is supposed to be for a very dark character, and I'm popping in there. Of course, people are going to cancel me. Absolutely. But at the same time, if they're doing an autobiography about me, and then they cast a dark person or a person that's completely black or completely Native American or completely white, nobody will say shit about it. And that is a problem. And you have to see that is a problem, because nobody gives a damn if you're mixed. They don't care. They just erase you. Like Miles Morales. People are in their feelings right now because they're saying he's black and his hair should be looking like this and like that. And he has always been mixed. Always been half Puerto Rican and half black. Genetics, people. Why can't people accept that? I don't understand. We don't have to choose anything. We just who we are. We're mixed. It's what we are. And so that is why I get very passionate. That's why you see these videos on my channel. This is stuff I've been going through my entire life, because again, I will disclaimer this. Do you know how easy it is for me to pass for stuff? I will be whatever the hell you think I am, and it will be accepted. But why should I have to do that when I am proud of my blackness and proud of my Native American side, and I'm proud of being half, part Scottish? Why should I have to make you happy and let you define who the hell I am? That is the problem. This is something that people don't talk about because nobody gives a damn. And that is why you get these videos. It's why Victoria makes these videos. It's why the people on TikTok that call mixed people now biracial Beckys. That's a thing. You should look it up. It's actually really ignorant. Saying that we're no better than Karens. That is very offensive to me. I'm in my feelings. So you're going to see a video coming out from me. This is not Hawkeye related, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like doing this on these videos, but you're going to see a video where we actually react to a mixed person, a mixed woman who denounces her mixed identity because she basically feels that she had internal racism. And she calls out all these other mixed people like us and says, oh, you should be doing that too. And I thought that was bullshit. And so, yeah, I'm having a lot of issues. So I respect that, Ray. Nobody's telling you what you can, cannot, should, would not identify as. I'm telling you as a mixed person, you don't have to. That is the point. Stop putting your effing labels on people. It pisses me the hell off. So, yeah. That's how I feel. And, like I said, I'm 45 years old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It is what it is. I've been mixed my whole damn life. People either accept it or kiss my ass. It's just what it is. I'm thinking about writing a My Hero Owl House fanfic, but I don't know who is going to be the hunter of the series. That, and should I expand the magic mythos? Because I feel that the loose variant to become something similar to Charmcaster or Caleb in the near future. I would love that. But I don't know how you're going to get all these fanfics done. You have all these ideas. I believe you, but you're going to be writing for the rest of your life. Owl House is still a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful show. And I hate that Disney treats it like crap and that overseas they literally are erasing Lumity. It's back to the LGBT plus problem and Disney. It's pretty sad. But it is what it is, I guess. I really like the world building they're doing in Young Justice. You just mentioned. I think Young Justice is an effing amazing show. There was a character death that broke my heart and still broke my heart. And like, I knew they were going to go there because I remember like DC doesn't pull punches in their animated series and movies, but I was not ready. I was not ready for that. Raven Simone has said on record that Raven was canonically straight character when she played her originally, and she doesn't understand why just because she is LGBTQ plus, her character needs to be too. True. I don't have a problem with that either. I was just thinking that if she did want to do that, then quite frankly, she wouldn't have the option because Disney wouldn't let her. That was the only point that I was thinking I was making there. Hi, Kevin. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the animated Legion on HBO Max. So is this coming out this year? Well, I guess not this year. This is like almost January. Is this coming out early 2022 or is it coming out next year or 2023? I can't wait for Gotham Knights. I'm worried about Gotham Knights. I'm gonna be real. Unrelated about. I'm worried about it. The old Legion of Superheroes show on WB was actually pretty good for a first attempt. I will give Gotham Knights a chance, but considering it's going to be written by the same writers as Batwoman, yep, same writers, one of the same executive producers. So yeah, I'm worried because they. I was thinking of doing an OC entering the son of Brother Blood, but his powers is similar to Himiko Toga, Morbius, or should I say Lana Lang when she briefly turned into Vamp. I forgot about that. I like that episode. Wasn't Shriek and Typhoid Mary mutant? Yeah, Shriek was absolutely, but I don't know. The problem that I have is that they've never stated it in the MCU and they haven't stated it in Venom. They never once said, "Oh, for instance, you're a mutant." They didn't come out and say that. So I don't know. Hey, Maria, have you seen Netflix's The Witcher? I answered this earlier. I have not, but it is in my queue. I've never seen it. I need to. Did something happen in The Witcher that in this? Because I know they just put up a new season. Did something happen in this that I need to see? Because like, not only am I seeing or hearing this here, people that are texting me and stuff are saying, "You watch Witcher," and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet. I know I need to. I know I do. But I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret. Don't kill me. I have never seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones in my life. I know. I probably would have loved Game of Thrones, but I've never seen it. There's a lot happening in my life when that came out. So I never got on the track. And then by the time it got to the point where it was so popular, it was getting ready to end. So like, I guess I'm just gonna be one of those people a few years from now, I'm going to discover it and be like, "Oh, that's great." Somebody told me not to watch something called The Red Wedding in that series. I'm like, okay. The film has enough issues for now with losing Chadwick. They may recast after BB2. She hasn't actually posted anything anti-vax since last year and seems to be smarter than Gina. Gina's, oh boy, Gina. No. I feel bad because I actually liked her character a lot in The Mandalorian, but yeah. Gina. Since we were getting to touch that on Iron Fist season 2, but that just made her mentally unstable. If you think about it, they actually did a way of adding the Iron Fist to the MCU proper because Talo and Shang-Chi is within a different dimension. True, like where Iron Fist is from and is a protector. You're absolutely correct on that. There are a lot of ways they can bring Iron Fist in. I would love for them to bring Iron Fist in with the rest of Atlas Foundation. I think that would be really cool. But probably not. Are you talking about Gotham Knights, the game, or is there something else I don't know about? Oh, no, it's going to be on the CW. We're getting a series. Who isn't smarter than Gina Carano? True. How do all these secret organizations interact with another and establish dominance? Like is Hydra more powerful? The 10 Rings and so forth. What about S.H.I.E.L.D.? How are they not stopping the ring? I've been saying that in comic books for years. I mean, you're asking questions that I've been asking for a very long time. How all these organizations how do they not talk to each other? Why don't some of them share intel about, things? I've never understood that. Never understood that. I was excited about CW's Goth Knights if it wasn't produced by Batman, women writers. That made me wonder and I was in my room. I'm telling you, when I saw who was writing it, I was like, oh hell, here we go. This is expansion of bullshit. They didn't reshoot the entire movie in the year of 2021 in terms of Doctor Strange 2. The reshoots are only for the scenes that were supposed to be in the movie since day one and principal photography. I thought they probably didn't get to, because of COVID, they had heavy restrictions and some of it was, filmed overseas. I think most of it was actually, but there are probably certain locations they weren't allowed to access because of COVID. So, which honestly, with the variant that's going around now, they don't know if it's going to be bad or not. And I think it's interesting that people are still running around like COVID is over. So it's a thing. Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, In Space, and Aqua Rangers. I wish Aqua Rangers had their own show. That would be cool. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot they could have done with that. But yeah, In Space, I think is always going to be. I like Mystic Force only because I like Maji Ranger, but there were parts of it that got on my nerves. But it was some of it was pretty close in terms of kind of like adapting it from Maji Ranger, but it's a thing. I also have lots of Maji Ranger stuff over here too. I have, of course, my favorite color is blue. So in Japan, this is Ulala. And then in, let's see, I think her name was Madison. Is it Madison? Yeah, Madison was the Blue Ranger in Mystic Force. So yeah, I have so much Sentai stuff. Like you just can't see it all. And then of course I have my pride. One of my pride and joys. I have this. I have the wand. It's still in the box. And it actually has all of their literally all of their I call them staff jewels, but it has all of them in it. I know this is pretty hard to see, but yeah. Love it. But I have Sentai jackets too. I have ironically Maji Pinks. I have Hurricane Blue. I have a bunch of others. I am a hardcore Sentai lover and collector, so it is a thing. Let's see. In between Dino Thunder, SPD, and Time Force. If I had to pick one between those three, SPD. Time Force was cool. It was a lot like Time Ranger. Dino Thunder was nothing like Opera Ranger. Battle Ranger. But it is what it is. It wasn't bad, but I just really I kind of felt like it started off strong and then kind of fell off at the end on Dino Thunder. Tommy couldn't save that, but it wasn't a bad show. But SPD was just very Deca Ranger and SPD, even though they were similar a little bit, they had they had things that were going on that were a little separate because the people actually had abilities outside of, them morphing. Like in Deca Ranger, they didn't have that. So they were just literally cops, except for Jasmine. She was the Esper. But yeah, I really liked SPD. But so I guess SPD would be on my top, but I still stand by Power Ranger in Space being my favorite overall right now. For me, it was Ninja Force, Mystic Force, SPD, and Dino Thunder. Remember that one? Those are pretty good shows. True, I don't think it's how the Batwoman writers got the green light to roast the other DC. I don't get how they got. I don't think of anything. I do not understand that at all. Dino Thunder was really good. I think the Dino Thunder Rangers could take the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, to be honest. Yeah, they actually had. I thought they had one where Adam came. No, that was Power Rangers in Space when Carlos was when he accidentally broke Cassie's arm. And then Adam showed up with his power coin that he wasn't supposed to use and almost died, teaching him a lesson. Because, you can't just have a lesson without somebody actually almost dying. I really did like Mystic Force. I always love magic. Yeah, Operation Overdrive was one I really did not like. I feel like this is a bot. So I'm just going to ignore that. Disney has a vaccine mandate, and Letitia refuses to get it, so she won't have any further contracts with Disney. There you go. Fun fact: the racial Red Max battleizer was called the Dino Knight Morpher for Dino Red. Oh yeah, no, they like their creative names. Lady Shiva has a big part in current season. The characters with her character. I am so excited because I know Orphan's also in it. I need to see it. The irony of Shuri, a super scientist, being played by some anti-science effort. I mean, the world's greatest mind is one of the most closed minds in her life. She needs an Oscar for acting in a role so different to her that she's real talk. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with that. So Maria, if they offered you a role to play Jennifer Hudson in a biopic of millions of dollars, you wouldn't take it? No, I would not. That's a lot of unboxing things for River to open. River better go out there and make that money because no, I cannot play Jennifer Hudson because I just can't. I don't look like her. I don't have the same experiences as her. I mean, as an actor, you don't have to have the same experiences, but I feel like we're taught in acting school to bring your own life towards a role. I can tell you what it's like to live in an interracial family. My parents met in 1962 in Germany. My parents got together and they couldn't get married in 1968. I had a sister that was going to be 5 years older than me. I was born in 1976. She died when she was 3 days old from a hole in her heart. And then I was born in December of 76. My parents were not allowed to get legally married. They could not get married until the 80s, until they came to the States. So by definition, my parents were unwedded when I was born. My brother was born right after they legally got married. And we're 5 years apart as well. So I'm coming into this conversation with a lot of experience and a hell of a lot of baggage, guys. A lot of baggage. So for me, we're in a society and a culture where representation matters and everybody wants it. But it just makes me really angry when you don't have it. And when people don't feel like you're important. Do you know what someone actually said to me on our video when we were talking about the Idris movie, the cowboy movie, that I should get with some other mixed people and start a nonprofit and stop expecting Black people. This is literally, and remember, I'm part Black now. Hear me out. Stop expecting Black people to take up your cause because you don't have one. And I'm like, I'm not trying to change like the world politics, or I wasn't trying to influence politics or social climate in any way. I'm just trying to say that I'm mixed and I have a right to say I'm mixed, and that's it. I'm not trying to denounce one of my parents. I mean, do you really know what it's like to be in a house with two parents that are completely opposite ethnicities, cultures, everything, and be told that you need to tell one of the parents that helped bring you into this world that they don't matter, that you don't choose to, basically partly identify with them because people in society don't accept it. And it's completely okay. It's also okay to take a whole ass mixed character and just throw part of their identity away because it doesn't matter. That is the problem that I have. And for people not to be able to see that in 2021, when we are literally in our feelings about every effing thing, pisses me off. So yeah, I have a lot of problems with this conversation. So yeah, I absolutely would not. The only time that Doctor Strange 2 was fully written in its entirety is when the original director left the project and Kevin hired Sam Raimi. Wow. Well, favorite Power Ranger. I felt like a lot of people's choice is usually Tommy. No, Tommy is not my favorite. Tommy's never been my favorite Power Ranger. Favorite Power Ranger. Depends on the show, right? And thinking Dino Charge, my favorite character was Shelby. She really seemed like she had the most sense out of all of them besides what was her other name? Claire, I think. I forgot her name. The Purple Ranger. Yeah, I would really have to go by show. because that's kind of hard. Like to have an overall favorite Power Ranger. I didn't like anybody in Megaforce. I know that's horrible. I don't like anybody. They look like Dollar Tree versions of the original. They were literally like carbon copies of, or the generics of the OP, the original Power Rangers. So I didn't like them at all. And I love Trini in the original Power Rangers, and then I liked Aisha. I think I was really partial to the Yellow Rangers for some reason in the OP Power Rangers. I like Cassie more than Ashley. Ashley got on my nerves. I don't know what it was, but she did. She kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I like Cassie more than I liked Ashley in Power Rangers in Space. So I think Cassie was probably my favorite character in that series. Yeah, I have to go. I would really have to go down. If we had to do a favorite Power Rangers, I have to go like literally season by season by season by season for me to say that. Charmcaster is my favorite Ben 10 character. I miss Ben 10. Ben 10 was a cool character. Cool series too. I just realized that Ben 10 didn't really have much LGBT representation or at all, which is could have had with all the alien stuff. Yeah, trust me, lots of things did not. You would love Game of Thrones, but you will absolutely hate the final season because it was bad, god awful. Oh, really? See, I don't want to be mad. Do I want to do that? I'm trying to keep a normal blood pressure. I hope that they don't make the hand seem like a joke in the MCU. There's so many great stories that can arise from conflicts between the hand, Hydra, and I agree. I mean, they already messed AIM up for me with WandaVision. I'm surprised that Marvel and DC haven't created their own Sentai teams. Well, Marvel tried to. Remember, that's what Stan Lee was trying to do. Stan Lee actually wanted to bring Power Rangers over here. That's why we have Spider-Man. And they have Spider-Man in Japan, but he has a mech. He has a big Megazord. But yeah, Stan Lee very much wanted to be the person to bring Power Rangers over. But it didn't work out. And then Saban did it. So, yeah, they probably should make one. I mean, they pretty much have Sentai teams in the comics anyway. I'm a big magic lover as well. That's one of the reasons I actually love teams sometimes when they're related, which is I think is why I like Go-Go 5, why I like 5-Man, why I loved Magi Ranger. More recently, why I like Ninja. Ninja is so damn silly. But I know the Red Ranger and the White Ranger were siblings, but the rest were cousins. But I will say what disturbed me most about the Ninja was the fact that the Blue Ranger, who is first cousins with the Pink Ranger, has a crush on her. And everybody knows it. So I thought that was weird. Maria, I would honestly watch you play Faith Evans. You would be alone. It's like I say in voice acting, as a voice actor, everything is getting very we want authenticity in voice acting. So you'll see a lot of calls come out saying, I would like to have a Haitian person or a Nigerian person or a person that's, of Indian descent, indigenous descent, whatever. I always, especially if it's indigenous, even though I am part, my grandfather was full Native American. I have to ask them, hey, I'm only part Native American. My dad is half. I'm also half Black. I'm also, part Scottish. Is this a problem? Sometimes they'll tell me I can still try out. Sometimes they'll tell me no. They want to have somebody who's fully indigenous. And I have to respect that. They do not have a lot of voiceover roles for people that are mixed. They just don't. And when they do have them, they cast a monoracial. Like, look at Big Mouth. You had, I think it was Kristen Bell was playing a character in Big Mouth who is half Black, half white. She stepped down because she thought a POC person should play the role. Instead of them getting somebody who was mixed, they cast a Black actress. And it's like, so, it's kind of like we just don't win. We just do not win. But yeah, Faith Evans, you'd be alone in that, buddy. You would be alone. What you're trying to combat is institutional racism, and that is hard beast to fight because it was designed globally to maintain a status quo of power and privilege. Oh, absolutely. Like, what I want people to understand is having a person saying that they're mixed does not negate BLM or whatever your other mixed POC with. It doesn't negate the struggle. Just the expectations on you just picking a side because of how you look or how people see you pisses me fuck off. And then having somebody tell you that because you love your mother, who is not, like in my case, because I love my mom and I also identify as Scottish, that I have internalized racism, there's a problem with that. There is a problem with that. So one of the analogies I recently used is if mommy is from Jamaica and daddy is Haitian, and then somebody walked into your house and said you can't be both, would you be in your feelings? Because that's exactly what you do when you do that to a mixed person. And the same thing if mommy is Irish and daddy is French, or daddy is Chinese and mommy is Korean. You can't be both. So go pick one. Nobody else has to go through that struggle except products of interracial marriages and relationships. It's just truth. It is 100% truth. It's sad. It makes you have the biggest imposter syndrome of your life. You never fit anywhere. You don't feel like anybody wants you, but everybody wants you to claim them. And it's bullshit. So like it's just this dates back to Jim Crow. This just dates back to a lot of shit. But at the end of the day, interracial marriages, even though they're all over the place, people are in interracial relationships all of the time. It is still very much taboo. And the kids are seen as products of something that should have never happened. And 2021, so damn sad. So sad. I have to go by show, otherwise it gets too crazy. Unfortunately, in the current world order, anything outside of absolute white is non-white. Based on that system, it's going to take a lot to take the world order, but multiple movements are trying. Well, and the thing is, again, mixed is not white. And I mean, mixed people don't have to be mixed with white. The struggle is we are mixed. It doesn't matter what the mix are. Mixed is mixed. Genetics don't effing lie. I mean, it's just what it is. If I go to the doctor, I have to disclose all my shit. It's just what it is. I can't be like, well, my mom's white, but that doesn't matter. Or my dad's black and Native American, and that doesn't matter. No, it matters. Because I'm predisposed for everything that both of my parents are. Because that is how genetics works. It doesn't matter what people see, say, believe, what mandate they want to put on you. At the end of the day, if your parents don't match, guess what, baby? You mixed. It is not hard. It's not hard. This is like the most common sense thing that somebody with critical thinking would understand. But we live in a society that doesn't want to understand it because of trauma, because of racism, because of whatever. But at the end of the day, it is not my job as a mixed person to make you feel better for what box you put me in. It's not. And I hate I hate having these conversations. You have no idea. I hate having these conversations. I am too old to be sitting here having this damn conversation. And again, I am one of those people that could have passed for a lot of different shit and nobody would know. You would, unless I told you what I was, you would never know. So I choose to be who I am. And I'm mixed and I'm proud of all of my shit. And that's what it is. And it's not my job to make you feel better about that. So yeah, it's just not. And let's not forget that the very first episode of Megaforce is a carbon copy of the very first episode. Yep. Especially when she's like, her hair got tangled up in the helmet. I was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. I can't handle this emotionally. I'm like, yeah, Stan Lee would have been much better over Saban. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Saban, honestly. Maria, you could have that role in the New Mutants. I really didn't know a lot about her before that movie. I always looked to her powers, but I do like her now. Oh, you mean Danielle Moonstar? Yeah, I love Danielle. Like I said, I try to be. It is so hard. It's so hard. I always knew I could be Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter. Like, no joke. Because I don't know if she have indigenous in her, but more than likely, if you trace African descent in the United States, you're going to have a lot of African descended people, especially Nigerian, that mixed with indigenous. So, that's possible. But I was like, characters like that, I know I could do. I think it's hard. It's very hard to play a monoracial character when you're not completely monoracial. And especially what they love to cast a lot of ambiguous, light-skinned, long-haired, dark-haired people like me is Hispanic or Latina. And I don't have it. I don't have it. So I feel like cultural appropriating a person or a character, even though it's acting, because I am not that person. And I feel bad. And we live in a society where cultural appropriation is a huge thing. But yet, for some reason, on TV and movies, we don't care if you're mixed. It's like, we don't care what you are. It's just like my spouse says, River is Korean American, and they call River Chinese, Japanese, Thai, like all kinds of crap. And it's like, wow. So you're saying all Asians look alike. So It's hard. It is really hard. At the end of the day, the problem is they do not have a broad range of characters for people that are Eurasian or mixed. They just don't. They don't. I would love to see Maria just pop up in either Ruby or Owl House because I could have most fun trying to kill Cinder, Harriet, and most of the Bellows. They never would have gotten the cut off. Sorry, the chance bam semblance activates. So I have a motion comic called Warriors of Sarah, WOS, and they have powers, but their powers are called inheritances, and they are passed down their basically their paternal line. And so my character is named Emney, and she is based on my Native American side, but she has long blue hair. Her whole family genetically recessive gene for blue hair is there. They have green eyes, but they have Native American features. And so she's hydrokinetic. And so I guess that's probably the closest you'll see, unless I get cast in the new season of Ruby, the closest you'll see to a Ruby type show is going to be that. And it's starting off as a motion comic. We are also looking into it being an RPG game, because I'm speaking with somebody who does RPG games. There's a lot that we're trying to do with WOS. So I haven't linked like the YouTube. We don't have our videos up yet. They're going to start coming out next year. But I do have the channel linked in the description box. So if you want to subscribe, I think I've already mentioned it. Please subscribe, because it is going to be awesome. And I have a very cool voice cast. A lot of people from Funimation, Bang Zoom, and others are going to be in it. So yeah, I am excited for that. So be on the lookout for that one, Nicholas. So show support to WOS, and that'll be like your Ruby, I guess. Even though I am a Ruby fan, obviously. You can see them behind me. Get my Weiss down here. You really can't see her right now, but there's my Weiss. Sorry, Maria, you have to look at the root of where this comes from, and it goes back to Europe, and the royals are pure bloodlines. This is where America and the globe has learned this from. Yeah. So and this is the thing. In the UK, they still call people mixed. It is a thing. It's literally a category. It's been for a very long time. We have a history of slavery and hurt and trauma and continuous systemic racism in this country. I am affected by that because part of me is white and part of me is black. And so I'm always going to have that. It's always going to be that issue. My mother she was born and raised in Scotland in a place called Cove Bay. It's in Kincardshire, right outside actually in the umbrella of Aberdeen, so Aberdeenshire. So completely Scottish. She is the first person in her entire family to come to America. And she only came here because my dad was stationed here. My dad was military. So I don't have a white American mother. I had she's passed, but I had a white British mother. Completely different set of racism, completely different set of history than over here. So whenever we have these conversations, it's like a lot of it's not applicable to me, because outside of my dad's side, which is, of course, he's Nigerian American and he's Native American, two different sets of people that have gone through genocide in this country. It's a very hard conversation for me because I understand this. I absolutely understand this. But at the same time, I can't denounce my mother. And I don't expect my mother. There's a video also that you guys should look into. I'll probably try and link it below, where it's being said that if you have a white mother, then you can never know your POC side. And if you have a black mother, you can. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because, as I said earlier, I never expected my father, who is not Scottish, to explain my mother's culture to me. So why would I explain my mother, who is not a POC, to explain a POC culture to me? It is my other parents' job. If your parents are not explaining their culture, their traditions, their life to you, that is a parental problem as a whole. That is not because my mother is white. It is not because my father is black and Native American. It's just what it is. And people, I'm telling you, just like we're going back to talking about Kingpin, people get in their feelings and they're always right. You cannot tell people a damn thing. Critical thinking does not exist anymore. So it's like, it is an argument. It is a conversation. It is what it is. I'll be real with you. and I've been real with you, but I'm going to be real with you. I'm tired of having a conversation. I'm tired of telling people that I have the right to be what I was born to be. And I have a right to not feel guilty about the fact that my parents got together, because I don't. Because if I did, I wouldn't be here. My daughter wouldn't be here. Facts. So, yeah, it'll be all right. I'm not going to hate. I'm just not going to hate any part of myself. I'm just not. And so it is what it is. I'm in an interracial relationship, but thankfully it has never been called that and never have to deal with it. Oh, you have no idea. For right now, my biggest issue with my spouse is they think we're sisters, even though my spouse is trans male Korean American and I am Black, Native American, and Scottish. And I think we look nothing alike. So it is the thing. And you're not fighting genetics, you're fighting a social construct. True. That is true. That is very true. Of control, the divide and conquer and subjugate is the roots of this. Like I said, genetics is what it is. I'm like, regardless of who's getting upset, what the trauma is, what's behind it, it doesn't negate the facts. I mean, on a scientific, biological level, I'm mixed. And I'm sorry if that bothers people, but I don't care. I really don't. Yes, back to comics. Taz Bam semblance activates. Orphan is a great character. Yes, Orphan is a very good character. Heartbreaking, though, how many legacy heroes are the children of family members of villains. Young Justice has an arc on this season that is so dope. Like I said, this is what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to season 4. Remember, Maria, you could be a charm one. You have the same basic makeup of 3 of 4 sisters. But I shouldn't. Well, not 3 of the 4, because well, actually, in real life, though, I think me and Sarah Jeffrey have the exact same makeup in a way, because her father, I think, is the one that's Black, and then her mother is half Native, half white. So she has my direct. Now, I have Bengali and a bunch of other stuff in me, too, but like those are my major, what my parents majorly identify as. So, but I think I think me and Sarah Jeffrey have the same, I guess, genetics in a way in terms of our mixes. But she's playing an Afro-Latina, and she's not Spanish or Hispanic or Latina at all. So that is a choice. I mean, again, as an actor, you're going to take that role, I guess. But it's hard for me to believe they couldn't find actual Afro-Latinas to be in that. I know a lot of people are in their feelings about that, especially in the Spanish or Hispanic Latina communities. So that's a thing. Did you watch all the episodes of Dino Fury? I have up to date to, well, unless they put some new ones out, then yes. She is, and the Green Ranger is the first TV LGBTQ Power Ranger representation that we've had. Can't say the first Power Ranger because that actually happened with Trini, the reinvention of Trini in the last Power Ranger live action movie. Maria will be the best friend with the planet magic in Owl House. I would love that. River, through not all the same, would be cool as the bard type of magic. Oh, yeah. River would totally be a bard. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you guys don't realize, as passionate as I am about things, River is worse. Don't let the quietness fool you. Don't let it fool you. River is much more passionate than I am. I'm looking forward to your series. I think you guys are going to love it. Like I said, it's going to start off as a motion comic, and it's going to progress from there. But the guy that I have working with me right now is actually, he used to work with IDW, so he's very good at comics himself. He actually is doing a motion comic, and I think he's going for an animated series, and hopefully that will pan out, since I most likely will be involved in that. So we'll see what happens. So theoretically, you would be related to the Bacillus family, aka Neptune's family, because they are all water manipulators. Yeah. Well, in my world, the Earth, the planet is called the planet Bly, and there's only one country left. All the other countries have been wiped out, and so the country is called Seret. And the kingdom that my character is from is called Ayana, and is basically the city of art, music, and dance. It's beautiful, gorgeous. It's very, very pretty. There are different cities within this country, and they all are very, very different. And there are characters that come from each of these locations, as well as some of the fallen countries. So it's very interesting. I don't want to spoil too much because you guys are going to get all of that when we start introducing all the characters and do like the backstory and all that. But all of my characters have been developed. We are now in the comic planning stage, as well as getting the theme music getting prepped, because we're going to have a theme song written for it. So it's going to be very, very cool. I'm excited, guys. It's very cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think I answered that. Yeah, it's not Earth. It's a completely different universe and world called Bly. But yeah, I guess when we get closer to our first I'm going to start doing character bios. When I start doing those videos, I will reveal things on this channel, so you guys will see stuff. So my loyal ATNers who've been with me for a very long time will get to see stuff that other people haven't seen. So that will happen. I will say that we did my character went through a redesign, which I'm very happy with, actually. Let's see if I can. No, but like no one outside of the cast has seen her redesign. I will say that this is her princess form. She also has another form, and I'll show you both. But let me see if I can share my screen so you can see my character's new design. So this character here, if it actually will share, it may not. Maybe. No, it's not sharing. As a matter of fact, it's freezing. So you gotta love StreamYard. I don't know what's been going on with this. It's why I've been using my webcam, because honestly, when I use my DSLR, it just turns my camera off. I have no idea. It doesn't turn it off from Zoom or anywhere else. It only turns it off in StreamYard. I have no idea what's happening. It could be a Chrome thing as well, but I don't know. But with all that being said, guys, what I'll try and do is either on my next video or stream, I will try and share it so you guys can see it, because right now it's just spinning and I don't think that StreamYard wants me to share anything today, even though I pay for it. But all right, so we are over 2 hours, guys. This has been awesome. If you have any other theories, questions, opinions, whatever about anything we talked about, especially in pertaining to Hawkeye and Hawkeye season 2, put it in the comments below, because I really want to know what you think, and how you think this is going to be connected to the rest of the MCU, because there has to be connections. So let me know. I will say I know that Spider-Man No Way Home did show a poster of the musical they showed in Hawkeye. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so let me know. And also, as always, if it is night for you, have a good night. If it is day for you, have a very good day. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.